Hi guys, how's it going? Chadmundo here. So this video is a follow-up to the previous one where I talked about my shoot and how I got it and what happened, etc. And in this video, I'm basically just kind of following up to say kind of anything can be possible. You just have to trust it, really. So kind of the reason I'm making this video is because I kind of went through, I'd say, it's one of those stories where you kind of go through the kind of conventional, okay, I started working 9 to 5 and then I ended up doing this afterwards. So I'm just going to take you through my story real quickly. So essentially, before I got into streaming, a bit of YouTube and, well, acting now, I was working in finance recruitment. So that would be essentially working with hedge funds in the States. So I can't really say like which specific hedge funds we were working with, but essentially like the top of the game people. So these hedge funds would be the ones that move markets and prices around like crazy. So any of you who've done trading before, myself included, anytime that you've kind of put a position and then suddenly lost it very quickly and a rather large amount of money, we don't talk about that. That's them essentially. So I was recruiting for them, and so that was kind of the first job I had. And then I moved on to another company which was also doing that. I also made a reel about that as well. And essentially this was kind of working, kind of trying to get the best of the best to join these hedge funds. And and the worst thing about this was that I was working kind of similar to how a lot of other people work as well, is that I was working UK and US hours. Let me explain that. So essentially what I was doing was I was 8 to 6 kind of working UK hours. Then I'd have to go home and continue essentially when the US stopped work. And this was from sort of New York kind of all the way to Los Angeles. I mean, the furthest I went was Silicon Valley, like San Francisco. But I was basically had to work on roles all the way from New York to Silicon Valley, and that just sort of wasn't working for me at all. And bearing in mind, this was also unpaid as well. So for example, I was only getting paid for the British hours I was doing. I wasn't getting paid for the American hours I was doing. So, and of course, kind of as I kind of did the maths and did the numbers as I was going through this job, I very quickly realized that this wasn't really working out for me at all. Like I was kind of putting in like a lot of work, a lot of hours, a lot of grinding, a lot of sort of hit and miss, so to speak. Anyone who's worked in recruitment will know this. And I was getting little to nothing in return. And bearing in mind, like the sort of candidate pool we were having to use was very, very, very small. This wasn't the sort of recruitment where you sort of chuck a lot of people, a lot of resumes, and you'll get a few placements. This was very, very slow. This is the complete opposite of that. Because the quality that these places required was so high, so the candidate pool was really small. And so essentially what I kind of realized that this wasn't really going to work out for me very well. And I didn't really want to be somewhere that wasn't kind of yielding results, no matter how much effort I put in. So I kind of decided to quit the company after that, because I realized there's no point in myself being there. I was just wasting my time. And of course, kind of corporate jobs can get sometimes a bit toxic. And then as that was kind of filtering through, I decided that this wasn't for me, and so I had to quit. Essentially, once I'd quit the job, I was kind of doing a lot of interviews at the same time. But this was also at a time where a lot of companies weren't really kind of hiring. They were kind of giving interviews but weren't hiring. It wasn't like now where they don't really give interviews or hire at all. Before, they were giving interviews but not hiring. And I interviewed for like a range of companies. I applied for companies in the US. I interviewed for a couple in Dubai as well. I applied for a few in Singapore, and it just kind of wasn't working. So essentially my plan from that was kind of a bit of free fall. It was essentially keep on with my streaming, keep on interviewing, but then also I decided, okay, fine, with the free time that I have, I might as well kind of travel the world. And so I have a lot of kind of friends in kind of South Asia, so India mainly. I have some friends in the Middle East as well. So I kind of went and I kind of essentially took a year off, but still kind of doing the things that I needed to do. And kind of this is when it kind of opened a completely new perspective for me. So of course, kind of I'd been traveling a lot since I was young anyway, But it never really, when you're young, it doesn't really permeate in your head. Like, there's a really big world out there. Like, you kind of just go on holiday, come back, go to school, go on holiday, come back, go to school, and then kind of over and over and over again. But kind of as I went kind of last year, it really kind of came to mind that, hold on, there's like a big world that I'm not really kind of, I'm exploring it, but I'm not really kind of taking it in. I'm kind of just going and then coming back. And that's kind of when things kind of clicked for me. And I was very lucky. So I managed to go to a wedding in Thailand. I went to India 3 times. I went to Dubai, as well as a few places in Europe. I was lucky enough that I was able to do that. But so kind of that's kind of what kind of went through to me. And if I hadn't really, ironically, if I hadn't really done that and sort of put out my videos on Instagram, the odd YouTube video, but mainly Instagram, I kind of wouldn't have landed that acting scene that I did land. It was quite frankly enough because I'd kind of decided to put myself out there and make the connections that I was able to go to that shoot. If I hadn't done that, then I wouldn't have been able to essentially have that privilege of doing that. And this is kind of, and the reason I'm kind of like saying all of this is because I'm naturally quite a reserved person. So for example, I love being social, I love networking, I love meeting new people, don't get me wrong. But I'm also quite shy. I oftentimes don't really, express myself a lot, or, kind of put myself out there in kind of much more kind of, extended kind of way, like put out videos and videos and videos. I was kind of, that kind of 9-to-5 job was basically kind of what I was overall knowing at the time. It didn't really occur to me to kind of go and kind of put myself out there, whether that be on streaming or videos or things like that. So, and if I hadn't kind of taken the leap, because I was kind of just, at the start, I was essentially just interviewing for lots of different companies and not really doing kind of any social media or things like that. So if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be talking to you guys about this today. And that's kind of the main topic of this video that I wanted to say, is that if you want to do something, but you're scared of doing it, it doesn't really matter. Because I'm a very shy person. I have a lot of camera fright. Well, not a lot of camera fright, but I definitely kind of, it's kind of ticking in your brain when the camera's on you. So even throughout that scene, admittedly with the environment and with the situation, it was quite easy to get into it. But it's kind of the point of what I'm trying to say is that if there's something you want to do, but you're still a bit worried about it, just remember that most other people, if not everyone else, is basically in exactly the same boat. It's just that they managed to break through the barrier. So the kind of barrier that you're experiencing, essentially when you want to do something like this, your brain and your body will kind of give you every single reason not to. So it'll make you, scroll on Instagram reels, it'll make you stay in bed, it'll make you, okay, just keep on, just play that next round of gaming, then it'll be fine. Or, instead of doing out, just go out and, have a drink or something. So like when it's hard, your mind and your body will essentially kind of trying to stop you from doing that. And I have that quite a lot as well. But if you just kind of take the leap and do it, you never know what's going to be on the other side of it. And it's fair to say that since I did kind of take that leap, kind of my life has kind of gone like really kind of upped in kind of many, many, many different ways. I've made such amazing friends. I've also stopped being friends with the people that I should have stopped being friends with a long time ago. It really just kind of expands your world. I'm not saying this doesn't have to be like, my specific situation was acting. It was, maybe the streaming as well, but it doesn't have to be that. It can be in kind of whatever endeavor. Like even if you start a new business doing like a clothing brand or something, you'll likely meet like-minded people that you'll never meet in your 9-to-5. I'm not saying don't do a normal job and don't do that at all. I'm not saying that at all. Like, to be fairly honest with you, like I'm also kind of, throughout the time that I was doing my own thing, I was still applying for jobs as well. So I'm not saying don't do that, but kind of it really helps to take the leap. And once you do take that leap, you will learn to kind of suppress your mind and your body saying, oh, don't do this. No, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. Don't do that. And so kind of as I'm kind of going through this, I'm kind of like making very clear like what's working in my life and what isn't as well. So I'm not saying that everything, as soon as you do this, every one of your issues is going to be solved. You're going to be in a better place mentally. Every single one of your worries is going to be solved. You know, I'm not saying you're suddenly going to do that and then suddenly going to make a bunch of money and it's all going to sort things out. But it'll at least change your mind and the way that your brain and your body thinks about things. And if you notice, once you start doing that, you'll realize that, and once you meet like-minded people like that, you'll realize that they kind of have the same situation as well. A lot of us are like kind of born with this strong conscience, and we kind of, you know, I mean, coming from my perspective, kind of, you know, we kind of get caught up in this kind of over perfection, wanting to kind of be accepted by others, and that's a natural thing. You know, I think a lot of people have that, and there's a reason. I mean, there's a sort of natural brain reason why we have that, but you have to kind of evaluate if that kind of clammed up perfection is stopping you from doing something that you really wanted to do. You need to kind of figure out for yourself what's gonna suit me better, because you can't keep on going through life being, oh, well, I'm worried about them thinking this, and this might be a bit cringy, or there's, you know, what will my family think of me? But then, of course, if you don't do that, then you'll never, ever, ever at least get to say that you tried. Once you do take that leap, the chance of you getting lucky suddenly goes from 0 to X many percent. Could be between 0.1% and 100%. But if you never take that leap, you'll never, ever, ever get that lucky break. So I want to like live with the fact that I knew I tried to do it than live with the pain of regret knowing that I could have done it and I didn't. So that's my kind of message for this, because it's kind of something that I wanted to it's kind of been a bit hard for me to talk about, because I'm someone who's kind of used to be typically deeply on the perfection side. Like, I went to boarding school, and the circles that I grew up in, and you're kind of like living all together. It's very, 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 very harsh. You're essentially, how do I say, you're kind of, I wouldn't say punished, but I wouldn't say sort of like punished in that way, but you're essentially kind of you're effectively kind of punished for kind of expressing yourself. Of course, to varying degrees, right? Because, you know, it kind of depends on a lot of factors, but that was my situation. So I grew up kind of very kind of perfectionistic. I used to be quite worried about what people think of me. I was always unsure, is this the right thing to be doing? Is this not the right thing to be doing? You know, like, is it like, you know, if I quit this job, that means like losing all that I know, and that means, you know, going into an industry that I don't know anything about at all. I mean, I went to acting school, but I didn't know professionally, like, completely the ins and outs of the industry. So, you know, and now that I've gone through it, and now that I do know a bit more, I'm able to kind of navigate my way through. But I'd much rather that than having still sat at that same job that I had that wasn't working for me, that wasn't making me, quite frankly, any money at all. Very, very, very unhappy, you know, not wanting to, quite frankly, get up every single day. And going in and just being depressed all the time. That's not the situation I wanted to be in. And so this is kind of my message that's saying that, you know, if you take that leap, you'll be able to do it as well. You know, because if I hadn't taken that leap, I wouldn't be able to speak about this. So just do it, really, seriously. And so kind of, I mean, my plan now is that, I mean, kind of since I kind of know this, I think, you know, I wouldn't mind moving to somewhere like South Asia, Southeast Asia, things like that. You know, I can kind of, that's kind of where most of my situations are. I'm definitely going to continue with the streaming. Streaming something that I really do enjoy doing. Obviously being a natural gamer. But yeah, just if you guys just literally just do it. It doesn't matter, seriously. Like, you know, if someone's probably they're judging themselves just as much as they're judging you, seriously. And that's my perspective that changed completely. And I'm so happy that I did that acting shoot. I actually had the courage to go to something that I didn't know how it was gonna pan out. I just went there, didn't think about it too much, and just made the best of it, and that worked out for me. You know, because you want to live a life filled with memory, not regret. and or at least knowing that you tried. So it might not necessarily work out. You know, I've been streaming for a bit of time. It's, you know, it hasn't grown a lot in that amount of time. It's grown a tiny bit, but you know, like, so, but it's still kind of, you know, still just got to plug away at it. It's not going to be suddenly you're going to be at the top of your game. But then again, you never know, that might actually happen. You know, that's something that can happen as well. You just have to sort of kind of be comfortable in your own skin. Don't try to appease yourself to people that you want them to approve of you, but you'd never kind of voluntarily want to be friends with them or hang out with them. And it shouldn't really have to be that way. Like, you know, in whatever your endeavors are, if you're friends and like kind of even some acquaintances, but if mainly your friends and your family just kind of aren't supportive, that's their problem. You know, what are they going to do about it, right? Don't just spend your entire time just doing like your main job, then going home and then living for the weekend, you know, going out on the weekend, and the same cycle again and again and again and again, you know, spending your entire paycheck drinking, going out again and again and again, because these things aren't going to make you happy. It's all temporary happiness. And coming from someone who did that for a long time, it's kind of, it was all temporary. It wasn't fulfilling me at all. I thought some things were going to make me happy. It didn't make me feel happy. And kind of, you know, now I've found something that I kind of really enjoy doing. Yeah, fast forward now to 2025. I'm kind of still doing my streaming. I think definitely kind of a move to South Asia would be kind of on the cards for me. We'll have to see kind of how things pan out, but I definitely, you know, I wouldn't say no to it, let's put it that way. And, you know, just kind of just do it. Doesn't matter. Really just doesn't matter, yeah? Like, who cares, really? I mean, you know, if it makes you happy and it fulfills what you want to do, then by all means, seriously. Look at me as an example. I'm a small example. All those big people that you guys look at and think of, they had the exact same thing. You know, even if things were like handed down to them, like, you know, just kind of putting yourself out there is still quite a task, can be quite a task. But you really have nothing to lose, you know. And worst comes to worst, you can just do your job and start again and just keep on trying. That's the worst that's gonna happen, seriously. Nothing else is gonna happen apart from that. So that's kind of just what I wanted to say. So so kind of from now, I'm kind of streaming most days on Twitch. If there's any kind of things that you want to see me play, I can also play together with viewers. That's fine as well. I'm playing kind of most evenings London time, about 7:30ish until about 11. Sometimes with the Indian audience, I'll do a little bit earlier. So yeah, I'm doing that as well. And kind of, I think a move to South Asia is definitely kind of on the cards for me. You know, that's kind of where that seems like where kind of everything is going now, especially in the West anyway. That's kind of what I wanted to say to you guys. You know, you can make that leap. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be fraught with problems, rejections. I had that a lot as well. I was reaching out to a lot of castings and not getting anything. So kind of what you do see is kind of this much. That's a success that you see, and then these are the problems that you see underneath. So, you know, but you need to go through that in order to get that. That is just how it is. But then once you get this, that does start a ball rolling, and then you just after that, essentially, what's that saying they always say? Oh, the world's your oyster. Really cliched, really cringe, but I kind of understand why they say that. But yeah, just do it. You know, I do my streaming all the time. I really enjoy that. I love doing acting, even though I've had just one shoot. You know, and it'll kind of, once you start doing this, you'll start to kind of see how do I describe it? You'll kind of like start to see kind of who certain friends or acquaintances will start to kind of like not part ways with you, but you'll kind of see things in a much clearer view. When you're not kind of like busy doing something that you really enjoy, you kind of just, when you're kind of just going through the motions, you just have like everything together, everything with you. So that will kind of sort your life out in that way as well. And your brain will literally just change. Like the way you think about things and your perspective will literally just change. Like it just, you know, just you'll realize so many times, how come I never thought of that before? Or that was really obvious. How did I not realize that? And of course, you know, hindsight's a great thing, right? We only really know kind of afterwards. But I found that I kind of have a lot of hindsight even as I'm kind of growing and doing the things that I want as well. And you'll just feel a lot better for it. So that's kind of what I wanted to say to you guys. I wouldn't say I'm a complete guru on this, but that's just my experience of it. I'm sure a lot of you have similar experiences as well. We're all here just to, you know, share these and see how it went for people. But yeah, just do it. It doesn't matter. You know, I'm gonna continue. That's where I ideally see myself. And you guys can do the same. You can do the same thing, if not more. Doesn't matter. So yeah, take it easy, guys. Hope you like my story from kind of awkward 9-to-5 person to this. You know, any similar stories, just put them in the chat. You know, that's you know, I'm happy to discuss them with you. I can even discuss them on a video as well. You know, any times you've kind of gone to another country or met a different group of friends to, you know, it doesn't matter. It could be it doesn't matter where they're from. It's made you just think differently. And then sudden things become apparent. That's just, you know, that's just how it is. So yeah, just do it. Seriously, it doesn't matter. Catch me on Twitch every single evening. I'm going to try and post on here a little bit more regularly, as well as Instagram. But yeah, take it easy. Let me know. Bye.